Hi, I'm Marilyn San Clemente, and welcome to my creative playground. I hope you're all doing well tonight and staying cool. Also, I was going to show you the Pansy Stamp set and how to make some of the pansies because it's a really versatile set, and there's several different ways to make pansies. You can stamp pansies, you can cut them out of the paper, or you can piece them together and make a 3D pansy. So that's my plan for tonight. So this is where we're at. So the pansy set, these are a couple of the cards that are in my tutorial. This one's really cool. You've probably seen some of these. I'm calling it the eye fold card because it looks like an eye when you open it. It has this eye shape to it, or you could call it a T-fold, something like that, but it's pretty. So these pansies have been cut out of the designer paper. So there's a large pansy and a smaller pansy, and then there's several different types of leaves that you can cut out of the designer paper. And there's a few different shades, so you can use a dark leaf or a light leaf depending upon what color pansies you're using. And there's some purple pansies and yellow and some pretty pinks. And another yellow, pretty pinks, and some pretty pale papaya, which is the new peachy color. So this card is the 3D pansy, and so this has a lot of different pieces that you put together to build the pansy, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And then there's that background paper that I really like, and then it's got this cute little blossom on it. And this is a stamped pansy. So there's three different types of pansies. There's the pansies out of the paper, there's the 3D pansy, and then there's this stamped image that you can do. And these are a couple. There's two different sizes. There's a larger pansy and then a smaller pansy. And so I'm going to show you how to do that as well. And then this is another gorgeous card that my friend Rose Carey made, and she's one of my stamping buddies from California, and she just designs gorgeous cards. But this is also part of that tutorial too. And these are pansies that have been cut from the paper, and then these are leaves that were cut from different colors, and so they're kind of a 3D because they're multiple layers of the leaves. So that's part of my pansy class. There's a couple of other cards included in it. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. And this is the stamp set. It's also got some really nice little sayings and things in it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull out a piece of white cardstock here, and I'm going to kind of make a sampler of the different kinds of pansies and different ways that you can color them and put them together. To assemble the pansy, that's this one here, you can start, there's a couple of different pieces that make up the pansy, and this is the body of the pansy, and it's kind of this butterfly shape, and then it's got these two wings that are in the back, and you put that together, and then this goes on top, and I call that the beard because I think these are called bearded pansies. This goes on here. I think, Robin, do you know that? Because you're a gardener. Bearded pansies, I believe. Okay, so this is how you would assemble the pansy. So let me show you how I'm going to color it a little bit. Put that together. And what I did was I made a couple of different colors here. Here's a pretty purple one. This one is Highland Heather. The body is Highland Heather. And what's really cool, and I don't know how well you can see it, is these dies are cut with some depth. So not only does this cut this out, but it also embosses it. So it gives it some detail. It's just really, they're just really pretty, very cool. So let me put one together and then I'll show you. So what I like to do with these, I'm going to move this out of my way there. For this one, I'm going to take my Flirty Flamingo. This is Blushing Bride and Flirty Flamingo, which are two shades of pink that really go well together. It's a really nice coordination. And I'm going to grab a dauber here. Okay, and I'm just going to add a little bit of color to this. You don't want a lot. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of brushing off, because when you dip this in the ink and then you do this, you get these little round spots, and I don't want that. I just want to add a little bit of shading to this to give it a little bit of detail. So I don't want spots per se. There we go. This one, I think you can really see the detail. That one is a little bit heavy, but that's okay. Every flower is different, right? No two flowers are the same, and flowers have lots of different shades in them. Okay, now what I've found with this, the best way to put this together, and see, here's the detail. You can see. I'll hold that up and see. If you can see the detail that gets embossed when you cut this out. And so let's use some glue dots. And what I like to do is put these down on the bottom here, and then put a second one on this kind of bottom edge. So I've got 2 glue dots here, and I line that up like this, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here and line that up. And the other thing I forgot to mention, this week is the last week for the early bird. My partner in crime, Jeannie, most of you know, has set up a full day event, and it's going to be at the Congregational Church in Linfield Center on 9/11. So we'll have to, we're in remembrance of the day. I guess I should say it's not really a celebration, in remembrance of the day. Now, what I did was I used the double-sided sticky sheets on the back, and I find that that just makes this so much easier, because to glue these, they're very detailed, and it would not be easy. And the best way to get these off, the new ones are better. I have an old batch, which is why mine say Sizzix on it, but Stampin' Up! Has come out with a newer version, and it doesn't have the Sizzix on the back. And from what I hear, it's very much easier to peel. Put that there. Okay, so we're just going to put that together like that. And then this one, did you know that these mats are great, and your workspace and your paper does not get all sticky, and the glue just rubs right off of those. So I've got to start using those more. Okay, so there's this piece of that. So then the other part that it needs is that bearded piece. So let's grab one of those. I cut one of those out of yellow. Just line that up. That still looks a little bit off to me, but okay. Maybe if I bend it a little bit more. There we go. And now I'm going to put a glue dot right in the center there. Actually, you know what? I punched out 2 different colors of yellow. I need to use the darker yellow one for the center of this, because that's going to get lost. And there we go. So there is our 3D pansy. Okay, so now if we were putting this card together, I have a couple of leaves. So there's 2 different size leaves, and you can cut the detail part out of a darker shade, and it looks really nice with this. So I'm going to put this, and I'm going to put this, and let's put another leaf over here. And then let's make that little bud. So we've got this piece that comes out, the stem, and then the bud is 2 parts as well. Okay, this is the Flirty Flamingo, and this is the Blushing Bride. So we're just going to take that Flirty Flamingo background and give that a little bit of detail. And so this would go on here, like so. And that's how you make the 3D pansy. So what I did was I put together a few different color combinations here. Let me show you those. And I'm actually going to make another one of these cheat sheets, which is kind of what I'm doing tonight. So this is a Highland Heather with rich razzleberry that I did with a bright yellow. These are the ones that I cut out of the designer paper. This one was a white one that I brushed with a little bit of the fresh freesia, which is the new really light purple, and then that's the Highland Heather. This one was a white one that I brushed with the Blushing Bride, and then I used the Flirty Flamingo. And then this one is the new Pale Papaya, which is this. That's one of the new colors this year. And I enhanced that with just a little bit of the Cameo Coral, and then I used the Cameo Coral to do the beard on that. So that's how that looks. And so let me show you how to do a white one so that you can make it a different color. Okay, so let's make this one. So let's make this one the peach color, which is the Pale Papaya. And we'll use the Cameo Coral with that. Okay, so I'm going to take my dauber and let's just add a little bit of that Pale Papaya, which is just a really pretty new light peach color. So what's really cool is you can do just about any kind of shading, and pansies do come in a lot of different shades. So you can do just about any kind of shading here, and you just have to you can be a little bit creative with the colors and your combinations of colors. My favorite way when a new flower comes out like this, I like to go out to Google and Google the flower and then grab images of different shades of the flowers and work that way. So that then when I'm coloring the flower, depending upon how I'm doing it, if I'm coloring it or using ink, or if I'm using a marker to color it, I can try and get the shading that goes with it. So the other date that's important is Sunday, August 22nd. I will be doing my new catalog kickoff, and as I do each time, we'll be playing some bingo games, we'll be doing some stamping for the weekend, and I will be giving away prizes from the new fall catalog. There we go. This one's definitely coming out better, much easier to put together. And this one will go like this. The beard in the center, where did I put those? There we go. Okay, I will work on that part later, but you get the idea. So that's pretty, actually. I really like that with the peach and the Calypso Coral. That's really pretty. And then if you're going to do the bud, this is actually Blushing Bride. And I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive. There's the bud. That's pretty too. So let me show you now how we stamp these. And again, there's many different combinations that you can use. This is Flirty Flamingo and Blushing Bride. And then I have the peach and the Calypso Coral. And then I brought 2 different shades of green, so we'll use those. So let's do, and we're going to do the large one first. So we have this background image, and then we have this detailed image. So the detailed image you can tell because there's a lot more detail on it. So the background image is the one that you want to do lighter. And then with the large one, there's actually a couple of different pieces that make up the beard on it. So I'll show you that. So what I have found is, if I use, this is the Blushing Bride, I'm going to actually stamp off because I want it to be a little bit lighter. And then I've got the detailed image. And again, I'm just gonna off, and then you have to, hopefully you don't see too much of my head, and you can see how I'm lining it up. Oh, that came out okay. Not great, but okay, let me try that again. There we go, that's better. I'm gonna line that up. So this one has a little bit larger piece in the middle, and what I found is that it has 2 beards on it, and I'm not sure why, but I believe that they did that just to get the image. So you want that first one to match the background, so like this. And then I'm going to use the second one with the darker, and that's going to go like this. There we go. And then there's this really cool little centerpiece. I have crushed curry ink here, and it's got this really cute little centerpiece. It's like a tiny heart actually, but it just fits perfectly. There we go. And so there is our pink pansy. So here's our stamped images with the full color. And now let's try the peach and the coral. So I have the peach here, Pale Papaya, that's the name, and here is Calypso Coral, which is a color that's been around for a long, long time. Okay, so I'm actually going to try and stamp this one. I don't think, this isn't as dark a pale. So I'm going to try that 2 ways. I'm going to stamp off, and I'm going to stamp it. Let's see how that looks. Oops, that didn't work. Took too much off. There we go. Okay, and then we have the, oops. Oop. That one's better. This one came out a little bit blotchy. I'm not sure why, but okay, so now we have the 2 different size beards again. Here we go. So first we're going to use the peach one. And you can see it lines up. It looks like a small butterfly, actually, and it just kind of lines up. And then I've got the smaller one, and we're going to use the dark, and again that one kind of just lines up. We have our center of a flower again, and so I'm using the yellow. Oh, there was one other thing that I was going to show you too, before I forget. Okay, so let's say you are a new stamper and you don't have all the colors like I do, and you want to stamp one of these. So let me show you how you would do that. So I'm going to take the coral, which is the darker color, and I'm going to stamp one with just coral. And the way I'm going to do that is, again, I have the background, and I'm going to stamp that background off to make it lighter. And then I'm going to stamp the detail with the darker. This takes a little bit of time to get used to lining these up. They take some practice. And then I'm going to stamp the first part of the beard off. There we go. And I'll stamp the second part. Okay. So, if you are a new stamper or newer stamper and don't have a whole ton of colors, then that's the way to go, to stamp off, make your flowers like that. So that's what the stamped, these are the pansies. There's two different size pansies. So let me show you that. This is the smaller pansy, and again, the flatter image is the background. It doesn't have as much detail. And then the image that's more carved out is the detail image. So let's do, so there's a few different ways you can do this. And again, you can stamp off with that. And then I'm going to do another one that's full strength. And then this one, because I've stamped that off, here's the detail part. This is the one, if you have two colors, I have the peach background, and then I'm adding the coral detail to that. And then there's one more little beard, which is made for these littler pieces. This one needs to be washed because it's lost its sticky. And I have been told, I haven't tried it, if you clean these with that, it will bring the sticky back. Oh, that's pretty. So there is our smaller. Do this in the Flirty Flamingo now. So it's one of my favorite colors. Okay, first I need to stamp off. And there's the Flirty Flamingo. So there's the Flirty Flamingo with the Flirty Flamingo stamped off. And then I'm going to put the little beard on it. There we go. Very pretty. I like that. I like that. So that's my take on the pansies and the pansies set. And now to do leaves. So these leaves have two parts to them. They're a background and a detail. And what I'm going to do is I have my Pear Pizzazz, which is the lighter color. So I'm going to stamp the background. And then I'm going to stamp it again. So that would be stamped off. And then I have Old Olive, which is the shade that's darker than Pear Pizzazz. And I have the detail part. And so I'm going to stamp the detail on top. Okay, and if you didn't have a lot of colors, and again only had one shade of green, then what I would do is stamp off the background and then stamp the detail. So this is Pear Pizzazz with Old Olive. This is Pear Pizzazz with Old Olive stamped off, and then this is Old Olive stamped off and Old Olive on top of itself. So that gives you that detailed look, and it actually almost looks exactly the same as the Pear Pizzazz. So you don't necessarily need to have a lot of different colors. And let me show you what happens if you use just the Pear Pizzazz. And we'll use the second leaf. So there's the detailed piece, and here is the background. So let's use just Pear Pizzazz. So we'll stamp off and then use Pear Pizzazz to highlight it. And there we go. Now, if we do Pear Pizzazz and then use the Old Olive, which is a shade darker, we're going to get a darker leaf. But you still get that detail. So, once again, you don't need necessarily to have two shades of green. So if you're just getting started and you're building up your stamping supply, this is the way I would go. I would go with a common shade of green, a common shade of pink, one of the peach, the peach or the coral, something like that, a yellow, and you can make use of your colors that way. Thank you for stopping by tonight. If you're not on my newsletter, go out to stampwithmarilyn.com and sign up for my newsletter, and I will see you later. Take care.